screwing of the middle class is on. What's up, everybody? This is Bubba's Daily Update, and well, they got the big vote passed today, and of course the markets soared. Of course, the markets are soaring all day anyways, and of course it was no real surprise that they once again are pulling the wool over the American middle class's eyes with a tax plan that doesn't really benefit the middle class, with a tax plan that benefits big companies and the repatriation and bringing money back in so that they can buy their stock back and play with the dividend game versus actually spending and trying to build America. You know, I think the biggest instance just to watch here is the Russell. Let's see how that reacts over the next couple of days, and that'll tell you what the Russell thinks, which is the best representation for middle class America is the Russell Index. It's small cap companies. Those are companies that started out small and grew up, and that's, of course, what we'll look for there. But, of course, the markets were higher today, and they were up pretty good. And the NASDAQ was up over 100, and the Dow was up over 200. And, again, look, the markets are still going up. We've said this repeatedly, that we're not ready to get short the market yet because just for these reasons, that there's still a lot of dip buyers in, and there's a lot of believers that this plan is good, or there's a lot of money that can go into the market that has nothing to do with the middle class. You make the call on that one. But overall, we saw a market that was relatively active early and then just kind of drifted the rest of the day, drifting higher. We saw gold pretty much, slightly higher, but around the flat line all day. The same with oil, a little bit lower though. We saw the bonds, again, everything was relatively flat with the exception of the indexes and the exception of the VIX. And now the VIX did rally back a little bit towards the end of the day, indicating that maybe this rally is not as quite as powerful as we think it is. But again, it's not something that we want to get in front of. It's something that we really want to more observe and watch. You had Walmart, big earnings, got close to $100 a share. It may go ahead and push through, and it looks like it's going to be Walmart versus Amazon. And of course, unless you're a conspiracy theorist, which I could be sometimes, and it'll be Walmart and Amazon as they try to put everybody else out of business. Best Buy had a little bit of trouble with their earnings, but still hung in there. And of course, the big picture here is what's the Christmas season going to be like? Where are we headed to? And can the market sustain the powerful rally that it's had for the last year and really for the past 8 or 9 years as we continue to move forward? Again, I look at it and I love when you hear people talking about the metrics are different now because of the low interest rates. Well, the low interest rates are not a benefit to anybody except for those who can get that money. But because the banks don't provide liquidity, they're not beneficial to you and me. The banks are trying to force us to use our credit card so we can pay those usury rates versus actually benefiting from having a legitimate line of credit in which we can draw from when we need it. The overall picture is very simple. All right. We've got a market that's on a tear. We're 9 years or 8 years into the bull market. And again, we're not going to say that it's going to end today. We're just saying that it's worth watching. I think that if you're an investor, you can always put new money in the market, especially if you know how to protect it and hedge it. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to have to sell tomorrow, then you shouldn't have as much concern because we do know the market will go up over time, which is why if you're going to lean, you lean to the bull side because everybody out there is telling you that maybe it's going to the bear side. You've got I forget his name already, but Reagan's old budget guy. I'm totally lost my mind, but in the meantime, he's saying that the market's going to crash. And of course, he's been saying the market's going to crash for 5 years. Now, again, the markets will crash again, and they will. Oh, David Stockman, sorry. The markets will crash again at some point, but they're going to come back. That's the whole key to remember, right? Not to get panicked, not to get emotional. We cannot afford to be emotional when we're either trading or investing. We have markets that are doing what they're doing, and we're not going to step in front of them. But if you look at certain things, look at the farm products. I don't see any better value today than to be a buyer of corn and wheat. Soybeans are still a little bit tenuous, right? I don't see a better sale right now than probably hogs and feeder cattle and a nice buy in fat cattle. All right. Now again, those are things we look at, but we were selling hogs much higher than here, and we were selling feeders much higher than here. I think but those are the areas. The key thing to buy, if you're going to buy anything today, would be looking in the grain space. I think that's where the real value comes in, because where are we going to go? Are we going to stop eating? Are we going to get a magic pill where we no longer need to farm? So there's a lot of things out there that can turn this market one way or the other. And we're not going to go ahead and say, well, now it's time to turn the market and go lower. We're going to say, hey, observe the market. If you've got cash on the sidelines, you know how to hedge, get it in. If you don't know how to hedge, you don't want to hedge, then you want to sit back and wait for opportunity, because even in a market that is going straight up, there will be buying opportunities. And even in a market that's going straight down, there's always buying or selling opportunities. Again, it depends on the individual issue that you're looking at. There are plenty of good buys here still today. And just one quick example, 2008, November, the markets were going crazy to the downside. Amazon was $30 a share. By the time the markets bottomed in March, Amazon was 60. And of course, we now know it's 1,100 and something. So again, it's the individual issue. It's the fundamentals of what you're looking at and the technical aspect of where that stock is. Don't let the general market conditions sway you, because those are easily manipulated by certain purchases and certain stocks that actually push indexes that have more power. At the end of the day, we're coming into another holiday week. Next week is Thanksgiving week. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be slow. The markets can go anywhere. Don't be trapped into falling for what the experts are telling you or what is going on within the general markets. Because again, the general markets are not necessarily a representation of what's going on in the underlying part of the markets or in the underbelly. We got to be very careful in here, because there's a lot of warning signs coming out. But just because we have the warnings doesn't mean that we're going to go ahead and sell this market. We're going to continue to observe, looking for opportunity on either side of the market. We do lean to the bearish side, but we're going to look for opportunities on either side, because at the end of the day, we don't know which way they're going to go for sure. We want to make sure that we're trying to get mathematically on the right side of the market or the right side of an individual stock. And that's what our focus is. But until then, you want to sit back, relax, and enjoy. And of course, we got football tonight. We got to give a pick. Football tonight, we're going to take the Tennessee Titans to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers straight up. But we'll take the 7 just in case. In the meantime, don't forget highschoolinvesting.com. We're looking to raise some money. And of course, I've supported the program for 6 years by myself. But we take, if you go to Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading, you can help us out. And of course, we'll do a special webinars for those who you do. And also, don't forget to get the Bubba Show every single day, 2 to 3 Eastern at libertytalk.fm. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you back here on Monday when we celebrate the victory of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's see what happens in the markets tomorrow, and we'll talk to you over the weekend. This is Bubba's Daily Update. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.